the time has come to talk about some of my least favorite romance reads. So we all know I love romance reads. I've read predominantly, I would say 90% of my reading last year was romance reads. I'm trying to change that up this year because I just want to have some variety, but nevertheless, I love romance. I really do. And I do read a lot of mainstream romance, which means it's pretty like commonly published. A lot of people see it. That's just what I like to do. Everyone's different. A lot of people like indie romance, things like that. That's great, and I'm happy for them. I don't know why. I just read a lot of mainstream romance. But with reading a lot of romance means I have a lot of favorites that I just love and covet and just are obsessed with. And I also have a lot of not favorites. And I used to be very shy about talking about books that I did not like because I was like, oh, people are gonna hate me. Somebody's gonna like disagree with me and be really upset. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know, everyone's got their different opinions and it's gonna be what it is. So I put a video up last year near Halloween of like my favorite thrillers, but I also put up one of my least favorite thrillers. And you know what? That's okay because we all have favorites and we have least favorites, and that's just how it goes. So today, I'm going to talk about some least favorite romance books. And I just want to preface this by saying, if you enjoy any of these that I list, that's great. I think that's awesome. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean you can't love it, and doesn't make your feelings any less validated, nor mine. We just have different opinions, which makes this world go round and round. I don't know. Moving on. Also, another thing I want to preface this is that a lot of these books I talk about, I don't own anymore, and I also don't know what the characters are, so we're just gonna make them up. Like, I've forgotten a lot of the details. I just remember not liking them. So if you're here for like really detailed analysis of why I didn't like it, I'm sorry. I need to be better. I could do better, but we're just gonna, roll with it. These are books I just didn't like, so the more I don't think about them, the happier I am. So that sounds so harsh. I'm not a harsh person, but you know what? We're gonna talk about it because why not? First up, these are in no particular order. I have Well Played by Jen DeLuca. This is the second book in her Well Met series. The whole series is about like this really small town that has a Renaissance fair, and the first book had two great characters. It was a hate to love romance. I really enjoyed it, so I was very anticipating the second one because it followed a character that we came to love in the first book, and it was not good. This whole book is pretty much, I would say, catfishing at its finest. It's just pretty much that's what it's about, and that's what I think grinded my gears, as well as a lot of people. I have really not seen a lot of good reviews of this book, honestly, because of the same reasons I told you about, is the catfishing, the kind of the lie and deceit of this book I did not really enjoy. So the romance was not there for me. It was deceitful, it was dishonest. I was not happy with it whatsoever.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
And so it made me kind of not happy about the third book in the series, the third and final book that just came out last year, but I really enjoyed it. It was just this one book in the series that I wish I could just like cut from completely, because it was just, there was no reason for it. There was no reason for the lies, for the deceit, for the catfishing, the whole pretending to be somebody else. I was not there for it, and I wasn't happy about it. So that's why I did not like that book whatsoever. Then we have 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. You guys have heard me talk about my favorite romance book of all time, as well as a lot of people's favorite romance book of all time, The Hating Game. Everybody usually loves, not everybody, and that's totally okay if you don't love it, because like I said, everybody's feelings are validated. But it's like my favorite romance book of all time. 99% Mine came out, and it was not good. It was just, oh my gosh. I don't know the character's name in this one, but basically we have a girl. She's not like other girls, she's different. She's got a nose ring. She's cooler. She's hipper. She's, she's fatter. She's a bartender. She is the bee's knees. She's not like other girls.
Not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
We hear that a lot in this book. And basically she's renovating her grandmother's old house, and who should help her but her brother's best friend, her twin brother's best friend, who she's always had a crush on. They have sexual tension, things go on. It's kind of like a second chance romance, with a yearning crush, but it just, I think the main thing about this book is the main character. Like, she was just horrible. She kept emphasizing that she's not like other girls. She also had this very serious heart condition that she just did not care about. She was just like, whatever, I won't go to the doctor, things like that. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Why? she just was so nonchalant about it, and everybody around her was like, you need to take this more seriously. And she's like, whatever, I'm not like other girls. I don't know if she even said that, but that's the attitude I came across with this book with her. I just, that was the main reason, probably the biggest reason I didn't like this book. It's just the main character. She was just horrible. That, bottom line, did not like this book. Definitely one of my least favorite romance books. It was just, ugh. Another one that I did not enjoy a ton by one of my favorite author duos of all time is Christina Lauren, and that is Twice in a Blue Moon. So 9 times out of 10, I do enjoy Christina Lauren books. They're just fun romance reads, but Twice in a Blue Moon was just not there for me. It's a book that takes place in 2 timelines. So we have a character that is a famous, well, her dad's famous. Her dad's a famous actor, but she's always been hidden away. Nobody knows that she's the daughter of this famous actor until one day she's vacationing with her grandmother in like England or somewhere, I think. And she meets this boy and they fall madly in love within a span of 2 days. And she, tells him who she is. And, she's like, I've never told anybody this, but I'm going to tell you, I'm the daughter of this really famous guy, but don't tell anybody. And then, what do you know, the next day tabloids hit and guess what? Secret's out. And she's like, this dude done betrayed me, so I hate him, which I totally get. And so she doesn't talk to him ever again. And then the book picks up like, I don't know, 10, 15 years later. And she is now actress herself and she's starring in a movie with her dad. And who works on set but the guy that she fell in love with so long ago. And he's very adamant of like, I didn't spill all that stuff to the tabloids. And she's like, you did. And also, I still have feelings for you. So it's kind of all about that. And it sounds really intriguing, doesn't it? It's got that kind of whole like kind of epic love story of, are they meant to be, are they not? Did he betray her or did he not? And it just did not play out well. The romance wasn't there for me. The whole plot line wasn't there for me. I just didn't love it. I think it was trying to be a lot like one of their other books, which is one of my favorites by them, Love in Other Words, and it just wasn't there for me. It's definitely probably my least favorite Christina Lauren book, because it was just trying to be so epic and so like sprawling love story, and it just wasn't. It wasn't there for me. So sad to say. Next up, we have one that I've already read this year and I had high hopes for, and I didn't work out for me, and that is Out of His League by Carolina Richardson. I got this one on NetGalley because it was all about baseball. If you don't know about me, I love baseball. I'm obsessed with baseball. My husband and I watch it every year. We're big Braves fans. They won last year. But either way, I was very excited because it's all about this girl meeting like her favorite baseball player, and they have a romantic weekend together, and that was the whole book is about them trying to decide if they should be in a relationship or not because he's a baseball player and her life's different. And that is literally it. There's just no big plot. There's no real stakes. It's just boring on boring. It's just basically a book with a lot of steamy scenes in it with not a lot of plot.
Step it up, find something new. You're boring.
And that is how I felt with this book. And as much as I love baseball and I love learning more about baseball in this book, it just didn't help. It didn't add anything to it. I wanted to love this book so desperately because I love baseball, but it didn't happen. One I read a few years ago that actually a lot of people do enjoy. I'm definitely probably the unpopular opinion here, and that is the Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. So I read this book because the plot sounded so interesting. It's basically about a husband and wife, and it comes out basically that I think he's also a famous baseball player. I don't know. Maybe I just have a thing with baseball books hurting me. I'm not sure. But either way, basically it comes out that the husband is not satisfying his wife, if you know what I mean. And so he is very upset and distraught about this. And basically he gets introduced to the Bromance Book Club, where a whole bunch of his friends meet up and they read historical romance books to help to get to learn women better. And it sounded really fun. Like it sounded really fun. But just, I did not like the main characters. They were both like, had these petty arguments about marriage and things like that. And they didn't communicate and they wouldn't compromise. And I just really disliked that. And there was also the main character's sister in this book was horrible. Like she was horrible. And the fact that she, I think, is the main protagonist in the second book in the series made me even want to read the series less, because I was like, I don't want to read a book about her. She was just horrible in this book.
No. Hard pass.
Why would I want to read a whole book centered around her? So I don't know. I just didn't love this one. I think it could have been so much more because the plot was so interesting. Men reading romance books to get to know women better. That's interesting, but sadly it just didn't deliver for me. But again, a lot of people really enjoy this series. So if you love it, I'm happy for you. I think that's great. Sadly, I just didn't. Then we're going to talk about an author that I don't dislike her books. They're just kind of just meh books for me, and so I don't know. Jasmine Gilroy is an author that I've read a lot of books of. I've probably read at least 3 or 4 of them, and whenever I finish her books, I feel like, okay, it was okay, but if you ask me as soon as I finish it what the characters' names were and what it was about, I would just be like, I don't know. There's not a lot of depth to them. I noticed with all of Jasmine Gilroy's books, you have 2 characters that start to fall in love, and it's great, everything's happening, and basically that's kind of the whole book, is them falling in love, them having steamy scenes, but also like going out to eat and talking about food a lot. And that's pretty much the gist of the books that she's written, honestly. I don't think I've ever given a book of hers more than 3 stars. I just haven't really loved them. They just don't have a lot of substance to them, if that makes any sense. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. A lot of people feel this way with her books, and I don't know. I feel like I like her writing, I really do, but not one of her books has really resonated with me. There's some romance books that I could tell you, like, oh, this is what happened, I remember the scene in this vividly, here's X, Y, and Z about this book. And with any of her books, I couldn't tell you a thing about them. So I don't know, they just don't have a lot to them. I keep trying to read her books to think maybe I'll love one, and I still will read them because, like I said, I enjoy them. They're good kind of filler books, if you will. As bad as that is, that's how I feel. They're just kind of books that will help me, especially if I've read like 2 thrillers or like 2 intense books, a book that kind of just even out my mood, get my bearings back, things like that. But if you ask me about them, I'm not going to know a thing about them. So I don't know. It's an author I really want to enjoy, but I just can't find a book of hers that just has a lot of oomph to it, if you know what I mean. And the last book I want to talk about is one I read a couple years ago. I can't remember. It was either way. It's Heartbreak for Hire by Sonia Hartel, if that's right. So this book had an interesting premise where it's about this woman that works at a place that gets revenge on men. They have different departments. They have a department for cheaters. They have a department for like men that steal money. They have a department for women that have been humiliated. And basically these women get hired and by these other women that have been scorned or wronged by a man, and these women go and rectify that situation and give it back to them. And when I first heard about it, I was like, that sounds really interesting. But then when I read it, I was like, this is rubbing me the wrong way. Like, I don't enjoy like petty things. Like, I don't enjoy getting revenge. I don't enjoy, sticking it to somebody. That's just not me, who I am personally. So the whole premise of the book is about this woman that works at this place that just is her whole sole job is to get revenge back on men. And basically in this book, I believe they're opening up a department for men to get back at women. And so they hire this guy who actually the main character is supposed to get revenge on at the beginning of the book. It gets convoluted, I don't even know. But basically feelings happen, but I'm just like, this is just kind of a horrible book because it's all about just, being mean to somebody else, getting revenge on somebody else. Like, I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy it. I just felt like it was kind of like a sad book because it was all about meanness and, vengeance and payback and things like that. And those are all things that I don't jive well with. So I don't know. And there you go. Those are some of my least favorite romance books of all time. If you hate me, I understand. If I mention a book that you just love and adore and you're like, how could she? I'm terribly sorry. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings too much, and just know that I still love you and I think you're great and I'm so happy you love that book. And it's okay that I don't love it. We can still be friends, I promise. But yeah, I would love to know some of your least favorite romance books. I'm sure you have them. I'm sure you have some that people love and adore, maybe even personally me, and you just hate it. Let me know. I would love to know your opinions. And it's okay if I loved a book and you did not like it. Let me know. I would seriously love to know. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching. Bye.